And the best things in life are free. Wow, right there.
True blondes have more fun.
Do not adjust your television set. That is what TV looked like 40 years ago as it exploded into the American living room.
Television in South Texas means WOAI TV on Channel 4.
And this is what we looked like 40 years ago as Channel 4 became the first TV station to broadcast in San Antonio and South Texas. It was headline news that Sunday, December 11th, 1949. T-Day, they called it. In fact, the whole week was officially proclaimed by the mayor as Television Week. Ads and articles in the paper gushed that we were, quote, taking another stride in the march of civilization as television in all its spectacular greatness was coming to town. Appliance stores held open houses so people could come and watch Channel 4 go on the air, although the TV sets they were selling were not as cheap as you might think. And what did viewers see that first day? Well, the first reel program was a highlight reel of the SMU Notre Dame game played earlier that week in Dallas. SMU lost, by the way, 27-20. But quarterback Kyle Rote from Jefferson High School in San Antonio made a name for himself. Of course, he went on to star in the pros later. Following the ball game that first day, San Antonio viewers were treated to 3 hours of entertainment, a 15-minute newscast, and we signed off at 9 p.m. Only about 4 hours of programming, but a big day for Channel 4 and San Antonio. And here we are, T-Day plus 40. I'm Deborah Daniels. It was a pretty wild time, those early days of television. The entertainment was new and exciting. The technology was state-of-the-art, although now it seems antique. And everything was live. The entertainment, the news, even the commercials. Every minute on the air was an adventure into uncharted territory. It was, as one pioneer described it, constant creative chaos. It still gets pretty chaotic at times. But after 40 years, all of us, participants and viewers alike, are more comfortable with television. For the next half hour, we're going to take a little trip through time and give you a glimpse of the way we were. When we come back, television from FDR to Johnny Dugan.
A happy birthday to San Antonio's best and first TV station, KMOL.
I hereby dedicate World's Fair, the New York World's Fair of 1939.
It was the first televised presidential address. President Roosevelt at the 1939 New York World's Fair. But World War II stalled the development of television, and it wasn't until after the war that it really exploded. And it did explode, an information and entertainment revolution. Not radio, not motion pictures, but a combination of the two. And the American public ate it up. 1 million sets in 1949, 100 times that many today. Programming in those early days on Channel 4 was live and local and a lot of fun. As one station promotion put it to potential advertisers, a half dozen hearty shows just waiting to be hog-tied and branded. For the kids, there was Johnny Dugan's Treehouse, a, quote, magic place where young Texans can tiptoe in and have fun with their saucy little host, Johnny Chip-off-the-old-tree Dugan.
And here he is now, the master of the treehouse, Johnny Dugan!
Hiya, boys and girls, and hello! Boys and girls, you bring them right on in that door, will you?
Okay, I'm just about to. Boys and girls, let's all go into Johnny Dugan's treehouse. Here we go, find yourself a barrel.
On Johnny Dugan's Treehouse, you could also find some pretty snappy local entertainment. And of course, even in those early days, local broadcasters understood the importance of sprinkling their programs with a certain amount of educational value.
All right, how much are 3 dimes and 2 nickels? 40 cents.
Oh, there we go. We got 3 winners. Let me see what I got in my pants. Oh, we got a you win. Let me see what you win. Some jacks, and you win a yo-yo. You get a yo-yo. You get some cards. Now.
The local entertainment Channel 4 offered its viewers in those early days went beyond kids' stuff. Many of the musicians who regularly performed live on WOAI radio just kept on playing when they turned on the cameras and lights. Add to that the talents of local dance instructors Bud and Marie Nash, the spicy vocals of Rosita, and you had
Dance Time, featuring Bud and Marie Nash. Music by Mel Winters in the orchestra, and our singing guest, Rosita.
Que negro necesito que te tengo que contar. Tu marido no te quiere, te lo puedo asegurar. Pues resulta que hace días yo lo he visto con Pilar y al que sale que el guante no lo suelta más.
Rosita Fernandez went on to perform in motion pictures and became quite a local celebrity. The footbridge at La Villita is named for Rosita. She has always made her home here in San Antonio. You're back at Channel 4. You were one of the...
unbelievable that it's been 40 years.
That long. You were one of the very first TV stars in San Antonio. What was that like? Did people suddenly treat you differently?
Well, at that time, I don't think it was such a big thing, really. I don't think so. Not like now. Not like now, really.
Some things don't change at all about television. One of them is that live TV can be a little scary.
It always is.
Do you have some special memories from your experiences being on live?
Well, what was hard, very hard, was to try and memorize your songs, what you were going to say and all that. And of course we had cue cards, but that didn't help much because we couldn't write everything that we had to sing or to say, but it helped.
Did anything ever go wrong?
Oh, yes.
What stands out in your mind?
Once it was wrong, too bad.
I understand now you were a singer, but I understand they tried to make you a dancer one night.
Oh, Bud Nash, who was the star of that particular show, decided that I should dance with him, and in one of those crazy turns, we almost fell. And that was the end of my dancing career. I kept on singing only.
When you started out, did you think this television thing was going to last?
I thought it was a wonderful, wonderful invention, naturally. But I never dreamed that it was going to become one of our most important inventions, really, at that time. But I'm glad it's here.
Thank you so much. San Antonio's First Lady of Song, one of the first people on KMOL. Thanks for coming back for our big special.
I love you too.
Thank you. Other popular radio performers also made the jump to television. Programs like Radio Rodeo evolved into TV Dude Ranch with people like Little Tommy Jean, Curly Williams, Lou Emerson, the Chuckwagon Chuckle Man, and of course Mel Winter and the Dude Ranch Dandies.
Welcome to TV Dude Ranch. We're just a dude cowboy, dude cowboy. We got a lot to learn. We're just a dude cowboy, dude cowboy. We got a lot to learn. Take me back to Tulsa. I'm too young to marry. Take me back to Tulsa. I'm too young to marry. Now, where's that girl with the red dress on? Some folks call her Dinah. She stole her heart away from me way down in Louisiana. Take me back to Tulsa. I'm too young to marry. Take me back to Tulsa. I'm too young to marry.
Red River Dave is one of the best-known performers who appeared on many of the early country western shows like TV Dude Ranch and On the Alamo. Dave McHenry, you're back.
Yes.
The singing cowboy.
After all these years, Deborah, I'm still back. Same guitar, same cowboy hat. I might change a few of them.
What's different now? What are the differences when you walk in here 40 years later and you see what we're doing these days as kids?
It's great, see.
What strikes you as
the main thing? Well, I'm telling you, when we first started, as I said, we weren't out at the stadium there, the gym, very long. We moved right into the studios. Well, in those days, there was no locks on the doors or no security, and many times I'd be in. X would build me a set, you know, and I'd be in the cowboy set and had my friends working with me. And people could wander in and out in those days, and nobody paid any attention. I'd see some of my friends, they'd be waving at me here. They came in off the street, And there's no such thing as security and things. So quite often to see a TV show, you just walked in the door and watched. I don't believe you can do that anymore.
Now, we brought this guitar back for a reason, because you've got a story about a song you were singing 40 years ago.
40 years ago, when we started television, the first telecast were not from the studio here, we're from Alamo Stadium. They had a gym out there, and we were all set up on the gym. And I was on occasionally to do a number, and they didn't have a whole lot of talent, but had some. And I wanted to do a special song that I had recorded, and I did it, but then they switched me off in the middle of it here, and I don't know whether the mayor had come in or whether it was a public service announcement, but something happened and I didn't get to finish the song.
And here we are.
40 years later, I want to do the last verse and the last chorus. Now, that's going to be a long time to finish a song, but I'd like to do it tonight.
We want to hear it.
Okay, here we go. This is the last verse and the chorus of the song I was singing 40 years ago and didn't get to finish. For a long time, my darling, I've waited for the words that you never would say. For a long time, my heart has been broken, and now you are going away. So come sit by my side if you love me. Do not hasten to bid me adieu, but remember the Red River Valley and the cowboy who loved you so true.
Ah, that's great! Ah, thank you, Dave.
Thank you, Deborah.
When we come back, news, the way it was and the way it is.
Happy 40th anniversary to San Antonio's first television station, KMOL, Channel 4.
The way news is presented has changed a lot in 40 years. This is all you needed to do a newscast back in 1949. A good solid wooden desk, a globe, a microphone, and a camera. And the news presentation was as simple as the set. As a station promotion put it then, telenews tells the news. Here's Austin Williams.
The Telenews Daily, produced by the world's largest staff of film correspondents, using the combined facilities of Telenews Productions, International News Service, and International News Photos.
Good evening, everyone. This is Austin Williams, and here are the major news stories for tonight. The United States has begun a new and stronger policy in the foreign field. It's a policy designed to contain Russian expansion. Our country, France, and Britain have put out a joint announcement in Paris, and in that announcement they say that never again will any one country be allowed to bother its neighbors. The Deputy Defense Minister of Poland, Edward Okop, has made further demands that the Polish communist ranks be purged in still greater attempts to eliminate Titoism.
Some things don't change much. As one cynical newsman we know puts it, news is the same thing happening over and over again to different people. Many of the world events of 1949 may have a familiar ring. Berlin was making headlines that year, too. The 10-month blockade by the Soviets came to a dramatic end. The Russians were forced to back off by a determined British-American airlift that sustained Berliners during the crisis. President Truman, along with other world leaders, signs the pact creating the NATO alliance. In China, while the Red Army is poised on the outskirts of Shanghai, nationalist soldiers begin executing communist sympathizers in a final, desperate struggle to hold on to power. In Rome, Pope Pius observes the 50th anniversary of his priesthood. Mother Nature reminded us again that she cannot be taken for granted. Mount Paracutin erupts in a farmer's field in Mexico. And in Ecuador, an earthquake, 6.8 on the Richter scale, kills 6,000, injures 25,000, and leaves 100,000 homeless. Finally, on a more hopeful note, Lucky Lady, a B-50 bomber, leaves Fort Worth, and refueling in flight demonstrates that non-stop round-the-world flight is possible. If the news sounds the same over the years, the way we bring it to you has changed dramatically. We've gone from a desk with a globe in the back corner of a studio to a modern set with all the gadgets and gizmos we think we have to have for today's newscast, like teleprompters that transmit the news copy directly through mirrors and monitors so we can look right into the camera and not lose our place while reading. Panoramic views of the city, tiny earpieces that let the producer and director give us last-second information and instructions.
Standby on camera too, Deborah.
And windows on the world that allow us to bring you pictures and interviews from anywhere, live as events happen. Right now we're going to tune in to a couple of gentlemen who brought you the news on Channel 4 in those early days when WOAI radio and TV were one. That's Bill McReynolds and Henry Guerra. Hi, gentlemen. Welcome. Thanks for joining us on our special. Henry,
good to be with you, Deborah.
Henry, in the early days when news was new to television, you didn't have all the fancy equipment and all the bells and whistles to cover the news. Do you think
we had one camera in the studio that watched us give the news on radio. That was the beginning of TV news in San Antonio 40 years ago.
Now, Bill, you did some weather reporting, and you still do the weather on WOAI radio. What kind of changes have you seen?
Well, of course, Deborah, I went back down to Channel 4, a few years ago after they had made some great advancement in the technology they had, and I was completely lost. I didn't even know which way to point. So that was my swan song in trying to do TV weather. But yes, I did a lot of TV weather, but we actually drew a weather map. It was there with us, and we had pencils, and we drew it on the map, and we talked about the weather. Of course, I did some farm programming, and I did some outdoor stuff, and did some country and western songs. But I didn't sing, but I did some of the MC work.
Deborah, can I ask him a question?
Go right ahead, play interviewer,
Bill,
please.
Did you predict the weather better then than you do now?
I refuse to answer that, Henry.
It sounds like there was the potential for some real hectic moments there.
Deborah, to me, the fascinating thing about television in those early days, 40 years ago, was the fact that the entertainment shows, such as country western bands, and we had a very good one, was that everything was spontaneous, it was live, and you hung right out there before the public, and we made some real funny mistakes. I mean, funny mistakes. I remember one time our lead singer was singing a song that required a lot of yodeling. And he hit a sour note on about the second note, and he never did get straight, and we were all rolling in the aisles. One of the funniest things I ever saw happen on television.
Well, something very funny happened because we did all the local commercials live in the studio. And one of our best announcers for months had been illustrating how Prem, that was the product, Prem would instantly dissolve in coffee. And he did a very good job, except this one time the floor crew forgot to plug in the coffee, and he was trying to instantly dissolve the Prem right in front of the camera, and it was cold coffee and nothing dissolved, and he wore himself out trying to dissolve that cream.
Well, that was certainly enterprising capitalism at its best. Henry Guerra and Bill McReynolds, thank you so much for being with us on our special and adding to it with some of your memories. And I know there are people out there watching tonight who remember you all, and probably more than a few who wish you all were back here in front of the camera on a regular basis. Thank you so much for being with us.
Happy birthday.
Same to you.
Thanks. As we've been saying, the way people like Henry and Bill brought you the news in those early days has changed dramatically over the years as rapid advances in technology continue to push us forward. At first, as you saw in the early newscast, there was simply no video except days-old film footage of national and international stories shipped in by newsreel services. By the late 50s and early 60s, newsmen like Paul Schaefer were using film cameras to gather local news, but the equipment was bulky and cumbersome, especially if you wanted to record sound with your pictures. And all the film footage had to be developed, of course, before it could be put on the air, a time-consuming process when you're up against a deadline. All of this is a far cry from the videotape technology of today, where small reusable cassettes are used in relatively portable cameras, the sound often recorded automatically along with the picture. Editing a news story used to require reels of film, a messy splicer to cut and glue all the pieces together, and someplace to hang all the strips of film while you figured out how to put it together. Now, editing is done quickly and precisely on tape. A story narrated by a reporter can be shot and edited in little more than an hour. It used to take that long just to process the film. Maybe the biggest change in television news production has been with graphics. Weather maps, for example, used to be prepared like this. The weathercaster would get on the phone with the National Weather Service and draw on a big paper map with a felt pen. That was it. Now, meteorologist John Willing gets most of his data via satellite. Skywatcher Doppler radar tracks storms across South Texas, and maps are prepared on powerful graphics computers with animation capability and color tables containing hundreds of variations and shades. And mobile news gathering has changed too. This was the first telemobile in San Antonio, a state-of-the-art TV station on wheels that could broadcast a signal from most anywhere in the city. The first remote telecast? What else? A high school football game, Wheatley versus Corpus Christi at Alamo Stadium. There have been hundreds of fiesta parades and rodeo remotes since then. And today, with our Texas Ranger satellite truck, we can go a lot further than Alamo Stadium and bring you news and events from virtually anywhere. But with all the changes in technology, our mission is much the same as it was when Henry Guerra, Bill McReynolds, and the others were here in this studio. Some final thoughts on that when we come back.
Happy 40th anniversary to KMOL Channel 4.
We've come a long way since those scratchy black and white images first crossed the airways. The technological explosion that created television has never really stopped, and the advances continue to make the programs you see better and brighter, with glitzier graphics and high-tech production techniques. But there is a lot that has not changed. We're still here, still broadcasting news and entertainment to San Antonio and South Texas. The call letters have changed. The people have changed. But KMOL's commitment to this community has not. Stick around. There are more good years ahead.
Call back my rose, rose of San Antonio. Lips so sweet and tender, like petals falling apart. Speak once again of my love, my own broken song. Empty words I know still live in my heart all alone. For that moon that passed by the eye